Welcome back, everyone. This is the new project. It's a Telefunken Operette 8 from 1957-58, which has just come in. And this is the first time that I'll be restoring one of these older Telefunkens with all the channels. The last one I did, which I don't believe I did a video on, didn't have FM. It was just a long wave, medium wave and short wave. This one's got it all. And this one is actually, again, in very good shape. I get these radios mostly from Germany. And in terms of packing and condition, everything is pretty good. It comes in very, very nicely, and very seldom do I have problems with major packing disasters. Anyway, let's start with an overview. It's all very clean. Obviously there's a bit of grime from the age and so on, but there are no tears or scratches or stains on the grill cloth. There's very little in terms of dings and dents. All the buttons are fine. The knobs are in pretty good condition. The faceplate is in perfect condition. So far this is looking like it's going to come out very, very nicely. I've no idea if it works. I've not switched it on. There's still quite a bit to do before I do that, as you probably know if you've seen any of my previous videos. But we'll just have a quick look at the condition this thing is in and see what awaits me. The side speakers. Here we can see where most of the cabinet damage is. There is a fair amount of scratching on the top, and some of these scratches are fairly deep. So I think I may have to do with this one what I did with the other one, which is to sand it down to the wood, and this will give me an opportunity to respond to one of my subscribers' requests for a demo on the cabinet restoration, which I usually just lean on and do off camera. But so far this is what we've got. We've got our tuning knob here, the sender. The tone has two preset tone switches for jazz and the intimate. I believe it's probably what that translates to. We have the normal buttons with off on the left. We have pickup and tape recorder as the second one. Then you have long wave, middle wave, medium wave, short wave, and UKW, which is FM. And then we have two more presets for solo and bass, which I believe will be the highs that you preset on there. Then here, this knob controls two things. One is the volume, and the back one is the direction of the ferrite antenna, which is rotatable inside. It has a magic eye. I hope it's working. It's an EM80, this one. And this one has got something else, which is a fine tuning on the for shortwave. And that is, when you put it on shortwave, your FM tuning works as a fine-tuning control at the bottom. We'll go into that when we have a look at the circuitry. Let's have a look at the back. And here it is. The back's come off, and what we have inside is a nice surprise. It's in pretty good condition, which is always nice to know. It means that in all likelihood there are no major catastrophes awaiting me. And this one has 3 speakers. So here we have beefy speaker number 1, and then it has 2 tweeters, and contrary to what I was expecting, these are not electrostatic. These are actual coned, and these are normal speakers. And one on the left and the other on the right, and they all seem to be in pretty good condition. which is great. It has the usual internal dipole. That wire's come loose over there, we can sort that out. Yeah, this is good. Very clean. Seems to be fairly easy to work with, at least from this end of it. We'll see what it's like when we get inside. That's the FM tuner over there with the ECC85 tube, the AM tuner, tuning capacitor for the AM bands. Yep, it's all there, and it comes with these DIN connectors. That top one, I believe, is the cassette tape deck, tape in, tape out, and the bottom two, I would guess, I haven't checked, but I think that's the pickup input. We've got our dipole antenna input and wire antenna input over there, and then there's also an external speaker connection over here. So overall, looks pretty good. I have no idea what it's like in terms of function. We'll find out soon enough. Just a quick side note. When I said everything looked fine, I was wrong. This guy was lying at the bottom, at the back there. This is the ferrite antenna, which connects on there. But it does seem to be only 2 connection points, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find the wires. There's one. The other one, I would guess, is under that mess over there. All right. Had to be a snag somewhere. I'm glad it's something simple. Let's hope that continues that way. Well, to do what I usually do, which is when I get it out of the cabinet, I connect an external socket for the speakers. I just need to disconnect a few wires here. And the first lot are these 3, red, black, and yellow. The red and black are speaker wires. And the yellow goes up here somewhere. We'll sort that out in a minute. So the first thing I need to do is to desolder these guys. Actually, I think these are the colors of the German flag. How appropriate. Right, here we are. There's our yellow, goes to that point there. Red goes to that point there. So it's 1 and 2 on top of the output transformer. And then the black one comes down here, and I believe that is ground. Yep, that's the ground wire. So those 3 come out, and then another wire that's connected here is this guy coming down from the antenna, and it goes to that point there, to that cap. So as soon as I've desoldered these, I can get this whole thing out of the cabinet. And here we have the guy out of the case, out of the cabinet, onto its stand so that I can move it around. And we get the first real look inside, you know, just to get a closer look at what we're facing. This is really quite a simple layout, and in terms of components, it's actually not too overcrowded, which is a good thing. It makes it easy to work on. This part here, the tuning section with all the switching, looks a little bit of a mess. It's actually got quite a bit of dust, and it's a little bit dirty, but I'm sure it'll clean up nicely. And this is the stand for the ferrite antenna. That's missing the ferrite antenna, as I showed you. A little bit of grime on the cabinet. And otherwise nothing too dramatic, which is a bit of a relief. The one surprise in this whole thing is what I'm going to show you now. I have never seen such a sparse underside. There's actually very, very little underneath the cabinet, the chassis. What you see here is the tubes, you have the IF transformers, and there's very, very little here. It makes it very, very easy to work with. As you can see, there's nothing particularly difficult to get to, but I'm surprised at just how little this thing has underneath. A lot of the stuff is on the upper side, on top of the transformers and so on, and actually inside the metal cans they've got quite a few components besides the actual IF transformers, which may make it a little bit more difficult to check and to repair and to restore, but it certainly makes it a breeze to work underneath here. Right. What we have here is the speaker connection, which I removed previously. I've connected this this cable on here, which then goes up to this plug, or the socket rather, and that stays there. And I have the male of that combination on that spare speaker that I use. So it's very easy to move this around and release it and so on. I also have the schematic printed out, as usual, on a left and right sheet here, which will make it easier to go through and paint up as we check this. There's all the information on the switches, which is something we're quite used to with these radios. The IF cans, the layout, all the captioning is in German, but again, have become quite used to that. So we're ready to get started on this. So the first test to do is to check that the output transformer is fine. Second will be the power transformer. First thing I'm going to do, remove all the tubes, and then I want to test the output transformer by placing applying a signal across the primary and seeing if we hear the tone on the speaker. So with the radio off, with the tubes out, I can fit a little wire into this 7-pin 7 socket of the EL84 output tube. That takes that signal into that side of the transformer. And then this point number 2, I will trace it, and yes, if I'm not mistaken, it goes to the B+, the first B+, which is the output of a Selenium rectifier. So that means we'll be putting a signal across here. It'll be about a 1 volt peak to peak or so, 500, 600 hertz. And we should, if this transformer is working, we should hear it on the speaker. So let's get that sorted out. Here's our spare speaker. Put the microphone on there, you can hear it quite clearly. That means our output transformer is functioning. Great, one less worry. So the next thing I need to do is test the power transformer, make sure we've got voltage. And the way I'm going to do that is put a voltmeter across the Selenium rectifier, as you can see there. So the positive and negative outputs of the Selenium rectifier, that's our B+. And I'm ready to measure that when I switch on the power. Over here, on one of the switches, I will activate any one of these. Let's go to the middle one here. So I have B+, well, I have the radio on with one of the channels. That means that when I connect power to my dimmer box, I'll have power coming out here. The dimmer box, as usual, is set to minimum. So I only have this light on, so 40 watts. That's the maximum restriction. And I'm going to put it on and we'll see what happens. Okay. We had our flash, which means the capacitors are charged. There are no tubes in here. I took the tubes out. I've got some current being drawn, obviously, because of the heaters. Oh, there's no heaters. Hang on. There's the light bulbs are on. Okay, so not much current. 90 milliamps. Not much current at all. And then if I look at the voltmeter. Okay, good. We've got 298 volts B+. Good. I don't think there's anything else drawing current here except I do have the magic eye in there, so there's a heater there that's drawing a little bit of current. I didn't take that one out. it's stuck in the front panel. I thought I'd risk it. So we have 300 volts, say, B+, which seems to indicate that the power transformer is fine. If I want to drop this later, I can always change this setting. Instead of 220 volts, I can put it to the 240 volt setting. So I can reduce the voltage a bit more. But what this means is I've got the two main components working. That is the power transformer and the output transformer. I think I'm ready now to start my usual component checking from the input of the AC mains all the way through the Selenium rectifier, the filter cans, and start checking components and changing some capacitors along the way. The first priority is to check, get the power supply absolutely certainly done, and then the power amplifier as usual, but that I will do in stages, and I think for now I'll finish this video and carry on in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.